Yeah, I was just mentioning to Deborah before we came on camera that I am a part of a CHISM, which is our kind of social service organization for the United Church of Christ. Yeah, and we were having conversations every 2 weeks for an hour at lunchtime around racial disparities in healthcare and social service, and I mentioned to Deborah that I had worked in the HIV field as she did, and I worked especially with targeted populations that were being impacted by HIV and AIDS disproportionately, and it tended to be women of color, migrants who were farming kind of throughout Wisconsin, and in the indigenous populations or Native Americans up north. And I guess I'd like to ask, in the midst of those concerns you have around climate change, around race and inequality, where do you find hope? Where do you find that centeredness again?
My centeredness is in God, because He's the only one that can change this. I play a very small role in all this stuff that's going on. But if we all could just know that His power will change everything. Maybe not in my life, maybe not in yours, but it will change. I know that much. But so I do my part. I do a lot of community work and have my voice heard wherever I am usually. And so I do my part, but I truly have to give it to God and ask other people to join me on my journey.
Yeah. That's something I've kind of learned in my lifetime as I would say, an organizer, somebody who's worked for social justice and equity and in a variety of arenas in the church and out of the church, it can be really exhausting to do this work unless you do it with the power of Spirit, with the wind of the Spirit, with the energy of the divine, of God.
And sometimes you got to step out of it for a few hours and days and months to give yourself a breath, because it does wear you out. And then you no longer you start to think that you can do it, and you're no longer relying on God to help you go through the journey.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just have to step back and watch for a while, and then you put your foot back in it, and you do it again.
Yeah.
You can't do it all the time because it's just too overwhelming, because you constantly see the same thing. I remember the struggles of Black folks in New Orleans during segregation, because I was a child, and I'm seeing the same stuff now, and I'm up in age. And so it doesn't make sense to me that we have not come this far on this journey, and we're still doing the same thing over and over again. So you have to step out of it, because you're trying to figure out, what did I miss? Where was I? I mean, why is it still here? Why is segregation still evident? Why are Black folks being killed by police and for no reason, just because they're Black?
Yeah, I've been asking that same question, I think, because I think I shared with you, I'm kind of I pretend to be a student of the civil rights movement, how it informs movements for equity and justice today. And especially as we went through this time of the pandemic, and as so much was happening in our cities around George Floyd, and we started to actually give voice, right, to the young men and women, Black men and women who have been beaten and unjustly accused and abused. And I was wondering too, it was why are we here again? But have we ever not been here? Have we just pretended to close our eyes, or buried it, or has it been white privilege and whiteness just, squashed it, or what's really happened in our culture and our systems that we've never dealt with this? And I think it's an interesting reflection to say we're here again, because growing up in northern Mississippi as a little kid, and I remember the shooting of Martin Luther King, and I was just wee at the time, but I remember some of my family members rejoicing in that. and saying he got what he deserved. And as a little kid, I knew, man, I need his family ain't right. Something's not right, you know? And that's when my Auntie Annabelle, of course, she was always my role model, because she always was able to step up and step out of the fray, right? And have her voice and speak her truth. And she saw what was happening in my family, and that that bigotry was unhealthy, and that supremacy, white supremacy attitude that was happening was ungodly and unhealthy, right? And of course, she then was treated as an outsider because she had a different viewpoint. But I've thought about that again as it feels like the world comes full circle. You know, we as humanity, we think we evolve, we think we change, we think we have this higher intelligence and understanding. And sometimes I look at it as I say, we're really all on the journey, right? And we have to teach each other and lift each other up. And like you said, I find Jesus as mentor and guru and friend and brother and example, and you know, and all of the great spiritual leaders always went off and took time alone. MLK did that, right? Ruskin did that, and John Lewis did that, and Mother Teresa did that. You know, all great leaders and mentors take time to pray, get centered, get away, and then they get back into the arena to do the good work. So I think that's a really profound message for all of us. Any final thoughts?
No, it's been, I remember years ago, pre-Katrina, when I would come to Baghdad Mission, you know, to bring clothing or to do whatever I could. And so when I came back here after many of years of not doing that, it has refreshed my center focus of wanting to be a part of this again. Because I remember how good it was to be a part of it in the 90s and the early 2000s. I remember that by coming back. And so I'm looking forward to my journey and my convictions to work in the mission. So.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see you back here when we have 25, 30, 40 volunteers here too, right? From various congregations that you get to interact with and hear their stories. For me, that's so incredibly powerful. You know, because what else do we have to give each other but our stories? Right. You know, our journeys, our reflections, our words of encouragement and love, like you said. You know, it's about love. It's not about being divided, but it's about coming together and listening to each other in good and healthy.
So we got a lot of work to do to get people back.
We do, don't we?
But we got to put it together, put our heads together, put our hands together, and move forward.
Yeah.
A lot of work to do.
Yep.
But we can do it.
We can do it. That's right. We're strong and we're resilient, right? That's for sure. And we're filled with the Spirit. Yep.
You said it, I did.
So thank you, Debra Joseph, for this time together.
Thank you.
Miss Debra.
Blessings. Thank you for being who you are and being here at this time, because it's truly a blessing to the conference as well as to Baghdad Mission. So thank you for
That's
who
what we
you
pray
are.
for. Yeah, yes. Thank you. And you're a blessing too to our conference as you lead and direct. And I'm sure the meetings are on track, but I'm sure they're also a sense of humor too.
I hope so. I try to make everything joyful and fun. So we can laugh when you can laugh, that you have done the best thing in life that you can do is laugh.
Oh, that is the truth. Yeah. It's a medicine for the soul and the spirit. Isn't
Lightheartedness, yes. Okay.
So thank you, Kevin, for running the cameras as usual, and join us from the Executive Director's Desk, or join us next Wednesday for another Candid Conversation. So thank you for joining us. As always, we appreciate your support, but most of all, send us good energy and love and prayers. Thank you.